Mel Keiper Jr. and Daniel Jeremiah of ESPN and the NFL Network, respectively, have released their mock drafts today. Boy, are they different. Yet, very similar, especially at the top. Mel Keiper Jr., he's got Caleb Williams going number 1 to the Chicago Bears, Jayden Daniels 2 to the Commanders, Drake May 3 to the New England Patriots. And if you look at what Jeremiah has, he has the only difference is Drake May going 2 to Washington and Jayden Daniels going 3 to the New England Patriots. After that, boy, we got some big differences here in these, because you have Keiper has, after Drake May, I think that this is kind of how it does shake out, but Marvin Harrison Jr. going 4 to Arizona. That makes sense. They need a receiver desperately, and that's the best way to go about it. But Keiper has Malik Neighbors going 5 to the Chargers. I think I'm more side with Daniel Jeremiah, who has the Los Angeles Chargers picking up a tackle in Talise Fuaga, not at 5, but trading down to 10. Where these two guys have a vast difference, though, is Daniel Jeremiah has the Minnesota Vikings trading up to the 4th spot to draft J.J. McCarthy, the Michigan quarterback.
They did go get that second first-round pick.
Yeah.
They went and got the 23rd overall pick, so they've got that to put in there. And if you're the Cardinals, you have so many holes.
Very much so, but receiver is a massive hole.
It is.
Like, they are void of talent. I think their leading receiver returning has like 500 yards.
Mm-hmm.
They need a number 1 receiver, and you cannot throw Kyler Murray. Say what you want about Kyler Murray. I feel bad for any quarterback who just is thrown to the wolves without any receivers.
No weapons.
And they are weaponless in Minnesota or Arizona right now. So Minnesota is weapon full, and that would just be criminal not to give him a quality wide receiver. But trading out of that 4 spot in a deep receiver class, if somebody wants to go up and get a quarterback,
you can find a Brian Thomas at 23 probably.
That's right. Or you can go and find a great wide receiver at 11, where you'd have to give up 11 and 23 if you're Minnesota to get up into 4. Get a receiver at 11 if you want to, or at 23 you're going to have one, and get offensive line help at either one of those positions, because it does appear that a good tackle will be available at either one, 11 or 23, and a really good wide receiver. So I wouldn't be shocked one bit if you see Arizona move out. But J.J. McCarthy at 4 is a bit of a surprise.
That's a stunner. Top 4 going quarterback?
Where both of Keiper and Daniel Jeremiah really split, though, is the next quarterback taken in this first round. Because Keiper has 5 quarterbacks coming off the board in the first round. One of them being Bo Nix coming off the board at number 12 overall to the Denver Broncos. And it should be noted, Keiper does have Minnesota drafting J.J. McCarthy at 11, which he will be there for you. But Bo Nix, number 12 to the Denver Broncos, is where Mel Keiper Jr. has Nix coming off the board. He does not have Michael Penix Jr. in the first round.
No.
Daniel Jeremiah has Michael Penix Jr. going 13th overall
to the Raiders,
to the Las Vegas Raiders, and no Bo Nix in his first round.
I like Penix. He does fit stylistically what the Raiders have wanted to be always. What's the thing that Al Davis always prioritized in his quarterback? Big arm.
Big old arm.
The big arm, deep plays, speed on the outside, which is how Odunze played at Washington. Big plays, speed on the outside. It's those opportunities that are there. I just feel like the Raiders have so many other things, and making that move there, I feel like he's a second-round guy. I don't think you can with his medicals.
Yeah, the medicals are a big one, but that's never stopped the Raiders before.
Nope, definitely not.
And you need a quarterback. You have Gardner Minshew. You have Aiden O'Connell on your roster. Those two guys are stopgaps. You draft Michael Penix if he's at 13. And here's the thing with both of these picks. If it is Penix at 13 or Nix at 12, either one of those you can trade down, and those guys are still going to be available.
Honestly, if the Raiders did trade down here, I'd probably be thrilled, unless there's somebody there that you're just like, how Brock Bowers. If Bowers is there, you're like, even if you're already having a tight end, you still kind of go, yeah, he shouldn't be here. Take him. Outside of that, get the assets.
Acquire more assets because you are in a hole. Both of these teams are, where talent is going to be an issue. But it kind of furthers, though, what both of Keiper and Jeremiah are going down is they're not just trying to find, the best player, but what these teams need and the fit for these players in a specific system. And I think that's an interesting one when you talk about these quarterbacks, because think of them. You got Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and J.J. McCarthy. Those 6 quarterbacks right there, outside of Caleb Williams, who can kind of fit anywhere, the fit has got to be right for these guys to be successful. And here is where most teams stretch and reach and they fail, is when you say, well, he's the best quarterback that's on the board. We need a quarterback right now. Not diving into, all right, what is going to make this guy successful? And do we have the talent? And it's crazy to think about how many times we see this happen, right? Where you have a team draft a quarterback and it's like, this guy doesn't fit what you do.
Yeah.
What you want to do offensively and stylistically and who you are and the weapons that you already have, this guy doesn't fit.
No, not at all. It's very much the, there's this diversification of thought versus production in college versus fit in the NFL. And I can't remember who it was. I wish I could credit him. There was discussion over the last couple of days that I saw across social media about the difference in how scouts at the collegiate level and scouts at the NFL level, how they go about grading players. As good as Bo Nix was in college, what are his tools and how do they translate and how much more can they develop in the NFL? And there's this discussion about how prolific a guy is or isn't. Because there's plenty of guys that weren't prolific in college, Tom Brady, who ended up being the GOAT, but there's also guys who were prolific in college, Patrick Mahomes, who ended up being very good in the NFL as well. So there's what I'm getting to is the NFL draft is it's a crapshoot.
Well, teams make it far harder on themselves than they need
certainly
to, because you have to have a quarterback.
So and stylistically, it has to match what you're trying to do. Otherwise, you're doing square peg round hole.
And this is why I just the Patriots sitting at 3. I'm looking at either Drake May or Jane Daniels.
Does either of those guys make sense?
No. They don't.
No.
Because of the fact that you don't have the resources around them to make them successful right now. And there is so much further that I think the Commanders do. And you're taking the 3rd best prospect at quarterback. See, that is where fit matters.